Hello again. And first of all, thanks for all the follows. And a new webcam now. Yeah, so you can see all the details. Don't know if that's a positive thing or not, but that's part of it now. Last time we were working on this simple project where we just wanted to take something from the standard input and write it out. That worked, but I would like to check if it couldn't fit in the buffer we defined. It should just give an error and then retry, and I couldn't get it to work. And I really worked with this. I tried a billion different things, found some working examples on the internet, but nothing that did what I wanted it to do. So I ended up asking ChatGPT in pure frustration that I couldn't get this to work. It should be so simple, and handling the errors. And handling errors like this, yes, it works perfectly. We can switch these around, we can check, we can do whatever we want. The only missing detail is that when we define this standard in reader, standard out, standard in, standard out, standard in, standard. Yeah, I don't know why it worked, but it actually did. When we define this reader, we give it a buffer, and the expectation was that this created a reader, it didn't do anything. So when we called this one, it actually read from the input. And the funny detail, or I don't know if it's funny, it took me some time to figure out, it does read in that line. Because if we remove everything else and just have these 4 lines, nothing happens. You are never asked to enter anything. So when you add this one, you get to enter something. But if you do this twice, if you do this twice, take delimiter exclusive, the second one doesn't do anything. This is loaded lazy. That is that it defines the reader, it creates the buffer, but it doesn't read anything into the buffer until it's used for the first time. In Kotlin, we also have this lazy ability. So if you load in a configuration file or something lazily, it's not loaded until somebody touches that data. And it's the same thing here. So when we add this line, we check, while this blah, 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 it actually does the read from the console. It puts it into the buffer. Then we go through this. But the next time it hits this, it says, it's already read into the buffer. So we're not going to do a read from the console. We just read from the buffer. And then what happens? It skips this one because there's nothing to do. So it just outputs hello again. And it does the same, again and again. So if we take this program here and we try to run it, we can say, how big is the buffer? I said it's 12. So if we just do this, it just goes crazy because it just keeps running this simple line and does nothing else. Again and again and again and again and again. Because this is never reread. If we do enter too many characters, it will fail with an error as expected. Yeah, so it just fails. What I found out is that you have to use some different reader if you want to be able to continually read in from the console. So that's what I got out of that one. I'm glad that I didn't just start trying to figure out what went wrong the last time, because it would have taken hours. Because the combination of the lazy loading and the buffering and the error handling, it just took me a while to really understand what was going on. But now I think I'm getting there. Also, the error handling, I thought that I understood it, but there are nuances and I didn't really understand it. This one, yes, it can deliver an error or a buffer, not a buffer, an array of U8s. So we can do the catch of the name, if whatever we're gonna call it, catch the array if everything goes well, and we can handle the errors if we want to, and we can switch on this if that was what we wanted to as well. What a doozy. And for something as simple as this. But I guess again, this is what comes with the optimizations and the ability to do everything. I have to get back to the fact that you're not being served everything as you are in higher level languages. So we was just gonna do some projects. I'm not sure what to do, but something just to see if we understood what's going on. And we could just use this as a starting point. I don't know really what we want to do. We could do a small, I don't know. Yeah, the idea was to do a base 64 encoder or something like that. Maybe that's an idea, because we could just do it with strings. We don't have to do a byte array. Or maybe that's just what we need to be able to read a file. Yeah, let's see if we can read a file and write it out to the console. So we're just gonna do this and move everything from here to here. And I know we're gonna copy paste most of the code, because I wouldn't even know what to do. I think I would try to get some information using file input, handling file. We want some input, and we want a reader, read all into a buffer. But maybe, yeah, we don't have a buffer. But first of all, I would just like some information about the files, if that's possible. File system, are there an IO or something? What do we have? We have open directory. Create a new directory. No, open directory. At the given path, the directory is a system resource that remains open until closed. Called on the results. Assert the path. It's not null. I don't know. Maybe. Should we try this one? And open directory options. Should we just try to see what that gives us? Like, just poking at it, like in the old days. Yeah, I'm old, and I remember the Borland C compiler, and they had this editor, and no matter where in the code you pressed F1, there were a description for everything. It was before the real internet. We had this, what was it called, FidoNet, where we could send messages, but it took a day because all the information was sent to central servers and then distributed at night. But yeah, back then there were no debuggers, there were no help, there were no code completion, there was nothing. The compilers just said doesn't work, or if you were lucky, it would say this line I can't pass that. I can't pass that line. So should we just create a file called test.ext? And then flags open options. Where do we find those? Probably also in the stdfs open options. No, apparently not. Open, same as open absolute. Where does it find this? Dir open options, directory open options. So do we have? No, we don't. Does that have dir? No. File system. Does that have that had the dir? Open options. See, just poking at stuff, and we got somewhere, not the entire way. No. Open options is a type. Yeah. Know what? We're just gonna do what everybody does. Just say file systems. And again, I hate search engines. When I search for something and it gives me a page, I really expect that word to be on that page. If not, don't show it to me. See, couldn't make it under the API. Let's see. 3 years ago, so we can't trust that one. Operates on path, which does he have some? What is this? It does just say dir directory. So where's the dir defined? Dir fs. It says it has it on this one, yeah. Am I being stupid again? It needs to be called with these options. Yeah, but where do I find the options? Where does it have the walk? It must be calling the walk. Dir, there. Fs open. Absolutely. Absolute. This is weird. But again, hope you're enjoying seeing me just fumbling around. Because this is fumbling around. I don't even know if Open Directory Absolute is the one functions to use. But let's see. Where software is built. More results. Do we have something in the standard library documentation, maybe? Directory, so open the file space. Open directory absolute opens a directory at the given path. The directory is exactly what we said before, but this one it's a struct. Can we stuff something in there? Wasn't that the way to do it if it was a struct? Or do we have to do this? And then we just use this. Yes, I know fn isn't being used. We can't do anything right now. Let's just discard that one. Yes. Damn, there's a lot of handling of these. I get why they do it, but when you're developing and testing, it's annoying. But when you want to build it, then it could just tell me, yeah, it's kind of what it does. Can I do just this and then add stuff to it? No. How do we do this? Fields, access subpaths. No. So can we just go back to the other one? Oh, just open this one. Hello world. Yeah, that's the anonymous one. Fully anonymous structures. No, no. The idea was that if I used something I used before or played with before, it would make more sense to me. That's why I'm trying to use this one. Yes, that's a lot. There we have, no, that's a union. That's an enum. I think I just had an enum in mind. We had a vector or something at some point. There we have a struct. Don't touch it. So what am I doing here? Oh, that's where they create the struct, not fill out the stuff in the struct. You stupid. Not stupid. I just don't know. So we're just gonna do this again. Don't save, and we're just gonna find header. And at some point I'm pretty sure that no, we don't use it, we just define it. Why? That's kind of weird. Let's search for struct. Structs. We had a struct. Turn a struct. return struct. Actually, we didn't have much of structs information on that one. Open folder. We're just gonna switch back to this one. So let's go to this one. It's just a struct that has these 3 parameters. That is nice. Let's go back and say we want to set all of these 3 defined values. Equals true, equals false, equals false. And this isn't working. So why is it, should we just create it like a function call? And then what? Yeah, we can't use commas. Really? Is it that hard to figure out? Yeah, I know it's just a struct. Why, why can't I figure out how to fill in a struct? Struct, thank you. Usage, constant, equals. So what's the difference? What am I doing wrong? Yes, we tried this already, right? Yeah. Are you saying that I need to have a dot? Are you kidding me? Okay, have to remember the dot. So now we have these options. Access subfolders means opening directory can be used as the dir parameters of functions which operate based on an open directory handle. When false, such operations are considered illegal, I guess. Yes. So we can access, iterate, scans for files and subdirectories of the result. It means the iteration function can be called. Yes, please. No follow. It won't defer the symlinks. Ah, yes. We have these symbolic links on Linux. I don't know if we have them in Windows. I guess we have in some shape or form. But right now, we don't want to follow those. We just want to have the folder itself. And I'm just going to nano, and it was called test.text. Test.text. Testing. Wow. Save and exit. Let's see. We have the test text file. But this opens directories. Open the directory of the given path. That's fair enough. So right now we just want to do this because I want to open the directory and just list some files just to see if I can list files. But what can we do with this open? It opens a directory of the given path. What does it return? Either an error or a directory. What is a dir? Dir. Dear. Dear or dir? Dirty? Dir? I don't know. Let's see what the guy did on the web page we found before. Okay, just found example. No, not really with C, but I guess that it's kind of the same. It is inspired by, right? So what does he do? Makes an allocator, allocates memory, try to get this and walk the directory. And we're doing this directly, so we are actually just having this one. We can iterate over a dir. So if that returns a dir, we should be able to do this. The IT is what he gets from the dir iterator. So if we say const it equals file in dot iterator iterate function. It doesn't know what the fs is. That is the dir. That is the. But that's this one, right? Ah, stdfs. It's just because he doesn't does a short form in his import. Lock. No, we don't have a lock. But we can do a function. Pop fn. What are we gonna call it? Log. Doesn't return anything, but I know this isn't optimal at all. Are we just gonna create a writer and allocate memory and all that stuff and just use it once and then discard it? But for now, just to make it easy for ourselves, we want a string of U8s, and we have no clue how long they're gonna be. Can we just call it without an I'm missing this one, right? What else do we need? Or is it the other way around? Yeah, and then we actually just want to write out this. So again, this can be whatever we want to output it. And that's where I feel like this is kind of stupid that it has to use a buffer to be able to write this out, because we already have this allocated in memory, so we don't have to redo this. I don't know if we can just make a pointer to this. But again, right now, I don't care. It just needs to work. Yeah, now I'm just referring the string. I don't know if this is going to work at all. Log. Oh, yeah. Again, we don't have the... Maybe this is a stupid idea. Yeah. Let's just do this and add it. At first, so we have our writer that can actually handle formatted output. Because then we could just do the standard output. Just gonna add that. So we have our allocator, we do a writer, gets the standard out where we can do the print. This we call the current directory with this one. And while it still has entries, if entry E, that is if there's no error, if there's an error, then we break the loop. Or if there's no more entries, I guess. Yeah, because we have the while this, and we have the else, and in the else we handle errors. So as long as this contains anything, we just continue. If not, we break the loop, this one, and we exit. If it's a directory, it goes down and it, oh, so it takes all the subdirectories as well and lists them. Fair enough. And then it, yeah, by recursion, it's calling itself. No, not by recursion, because we don't have recursion, because this isn't being called as a function. But we could do that. Let's see if it will even compile. It actually compiled. Let's see what it says. Does nothing. Didn't I save or something? What's it doing? Didn't it compile without errors? No, it didn't. It didn't. The window is just too small, so I couldn't see that there was an error or more. Unexpected woodblock. Note, consider using try catcher if file in iterate. I'm just gonna see if he actually did a try. He did not. So that's why that's kind of weird. But again, consider using try. Catch or if. Error, no field member function named iterate. Oh, okay, fair enough. Then we can try all we want if this says there's nothing called iterate here. But this should return something that could be an iterator. This should return this one, a deer. Or an error. Or an error. So, wow. I'm tired today. Oh, come on. Unexpected error union type. Found if SD iterator structure. Struct declared here. I think that's because we add this one. and it's not able to. Yeah, small steps, one step at a time. Fs, the iterator, the const versus non-const. So we're doing this as a const, and it should be a var. One more step. Yeah. Has no member called directory. So this is not known. Is it called with a small letter now? Again, this one was 3 years ago, so a lot of things might have changed. We wouldn't know. No member, open dir. So we can't even call this one. That's weird because dir now is the open option. Maybe I shouldn't call this one dir option. But then it doesn't know what dir is here. Dir is here. And what is it in this context? Dir was the file system dir that was passed. Fs dir. So that is a... This is so weird. So we are again not getting anywhere because I have no clue what I'm doing. Maybe I should just go back and look at more examples to get an idea of how to structure things, because this feels like going back again. Is it the file? The one that's giving us the iterators? Well, that is the one that has the type of dir. And we should be able to open. Yeah, now it works. Open dir. I just had to look at the file. Okay. And remember to save. Still an error. Now what? Standard out.print. Member function. Why it's complaining about the output print? What is this? That's also weird because that shouldn't be just that, right? Yeah, it's gonna try walk. Okay, so here's the recursion part that somehow I I just replaced with the print. Again, if you saw it live, you're allowed to laugh that I was just doing this. But let's just skip that one and say if it's a subdirectory, we're not gonna go into that one. If it's a directory, don't go into it. No, actually. If it's a directory, do nothing. We can do a... How do we get the name? Ename? ekind? efind file? Directory, and just have the name. Yeah, so it does the exact same thing. But we can just do this, I guess. Nope. Please. Invalid format S for error access. It's this one, right? Line what? Invalid format for error string. Yes, I'm just trying to output the error string, but what I want is the type, not that type, this type. I want the type of the error, and I want the type name of that type, because I want to be able to output the name, thank you, of that error. It compiled, but it didn't work. Reached unreachable code. That's a first. If OK unreachable assertion failed. Is that some test or something that is messing things up now? Open directory absolute. Yeah. We are doing the... This is an error where I just lost because it's a runtime, my first runtime error that really isn't handled apparently, as it does a panic, just like the old Commodore Amiga, where you had kernel panic. It's an assertion that fails, so maybe it's a test that is run somehow that we just, or do we have runtime assertions? We do have some assertions. So we have something that we can do asserts. Getting the debugger to work would help a lot, because then we could step through it and see where it actually goes wrong. Absolute path. Path is absolute. It's not an absolute path, not at all. It's just a relative path. It says absolute path right there. So we have to do what? Home, streamer, what was it? Learning sick. First project. Should it end with a slash, as it's maybe? Oh, it did list it. Nice. We got it working. Yay! Small victories. We're just gonna add new lines and then try again. Build. Yes. So this folder, let's just do this. It has a file called sig build.sig, build.sig.sion, son, test. Why isn't this one being listed? It finds the directories as well. The source, the .sig cache, the sig out. And then it says it's found a file, but there's no name for it. But that's the last one. Why isn't that being printed out? Oh, am I missing the cache? What's it called? Clear flush. Thank you, flush. I need to do the flush. Let's try again. Build. Let's see. Da 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 da. And there it is, the last file. So, woof, we actually got directory information. Wasn't there something with this being a resource? This one? So are we supposed to dispose of this? It's a resource that remains open until close is called on the result. CO in absolute set for a function that accepts a null terminated path. Asserts. Let's see. It says until there's been called close on it. So can we can call close on it. Wasn't it called defer? After. Again, let's just go back to, was it this one? Defer. Defer, defer, defer. Defer. Isn't it should just work like that. D-E-F-E-R, D-E-F-E-R. Not E, defer. That's just, so the 2 times that I didn't call it, have we left something in memory because close was never called on it? Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. But that was positive. That was really positive. We got something to work. Yes, we borrowed a lot, but some of it actually made sense. And by poking around, we found this open dir absolute, open directory absolute. Are there a relative? No. Why isn't there? File system. Find. Relative path. Update file absolute. Make the rear absolute absolute. Renames. Open file absolute. Create file absolute absolute absolute. There's so much absolute, but no relative. Open file absolute. So we can try to get this one. No, that wasn't it. Come on. There it was. It was just there. Flush. Open file. And we can do something like this. Maybe. Dun, 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 dun. Can we just... Can we do refactoring in... what's it called? Visual Studio Code? Is that possible? We just rename this one. And it will actually refactor everything. Directory info. Yeah. Directory info. And it didn't. That's one of the places where I've gotten too used to just have refactoring done for me. If I just rename one, it just works. And it renames everything in the entire project. Before we go on, let's see if I missed something. I think I did. Now what? Let's undo and see what I did wrong. Save, build. No? Didn't I save when I tested this one? Apparently I didn't. So adding this breaks it? Yeah. Why? Explain it to me. As well. And that's where I feel like right now I don't know why it should be a var, what the difference is. I know what the difference is between var and const, but why it needs to be a var to be able to be closed feels wrong. But okay, we got that one working, and we can try once again to refactor. No refactoring is available. Rename symbol, okay. Directory info. It does update it. Okay, thank you. And again, I'm just going to check that it still builds. It did. Cool. Let's do the open file. File in. And we're going to do a open file absolute. Opens a file for reading and writing without attempting to create a new file. Same as open file, but the path parameter is what the 16 encoded. WTF 16 encoded. I heard about UTF, but not WTF. Okay, same as absolute, but the path parameter is null terminated. Oh, so you could give it a parameter with the buffer and have it null terminated. I like that. We are going to use this one. And it takes the absolute path and flag, open flag. This one. But what flags are these? These are file open flags. Oh, there's some more here. Can we just create it on the fly instead of having to do all of this? We can just do kind of this. Just have it done like this. Open mode. Dot open mode equals read only dot. Can we get something else? No. Can we omit some of these? No. Yeah, we can. Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes. No. Maybe. Use of undeclared identifier. Open flags. No. Open flags is just this in file. What did we call it up here? Yeah, I think we need to do this. Read only, yes. We like that we can only do it like a read only. File in. We can change owner, we can change mod, we can close it. Close might be a good idea just to add that one. Now we're here. And that's one of the things with the language I like. You open something, you can just defer and close it and get rid of it when things are done. File in, what else can we do? We can get in position, we can get position. Pre-read, p-read. On Windows, this function currently does also the file pointer. Is it peek? So we can peek for it. Deprecate it, then we're not going to use it. We can write, we can read, we can read. Read all. We can try, we can get a reader. Default to position. Positional reader fallbacks to streaming. I just want something that reads. So if we take this, how much does it read? Or do we define that one? Read all. What happens if the buffer isn't big enough? It would let us know. I'm for sure about that one. So read buffer. Should we just do a read buffer? And we just need to allocate a buffer for this. I'm just gonna call it allocator file reader. We allocate, and we're gonna free it when done. We're not gonna call it buffer. We're gonna call it file. Sorry, file buffer. And we can read it to this one. Should we call it file, not dial? File data. Yeah, I'm trying to write without looking at the keyboard. I switched keyboard some, yeah, is it a year ago maybe? And I had a really tough time getting used to the new keyboard. And I got into the habit of looking at the keyboard over and over and over again. And now I'm trying to really be aware when I look at the keyboard and try not to, and just do the typos and fix them. Let's see. We get a usage of how much has been, I guess, how many bytes has been read, right? Of course we can go to the definition. Why wouldn't we be able to? Usize, return, read file. There's a Windows read file. We are not on Windows. Read file, usize. What does it return? Do we have a return? AMT. And what is that short for? Attempted read. I don't know. I guess as it's a usize, I think it's the amount of bytes read. So if we once again can take this and at first just use this. Oh, at times I really hate this extra information that they put in, because when I try to mark out some part of the file, it includes this one and it makes that jump that makes it kind of weird. But yeah, details. Bytes read from file. Right now, we are not handling any errors whatsoever. So we're going to say that the file allocator for this file read, we're going to make that 2048 bytes long. I know that we only wrote testing in the file, so that's okay. It read it into the file buffer. Are we able to just take the buffer content and output that as a string? It didn't complain about it. This complained about it. Let's see. Struct declared here, open flags. Yeah. No field name open instruct open flags. Are you sure about that? File open flags. Open mode. Is it just called mode? Yes. Then there's some. Give me a sec. No, I didn't change anything in this file. Oh, well, I did. Close that one, and close that one. So that is okay. What was I thinking about? I just blew a fuse. What was I trying to do here? I don't know. It still doesn't build. And why not? I think it's this one. I don't think I can just do that. No, it still won't build. Type of, and type name. But that was okay before. I'm not doing anything differently. So you shouldn't complain. Build? Yeah, that builds. So it is something that we added down here. Did the allocator? File data? No, right? Why doesn't it want to do this? Is that because we are not handling the errors? So we need to try. So if it is an error, it just exits the function with an error. And if not an error, then we have this file information. So maybe that is what it needs. Yeah. I need to be a lot better at file handling. So it did the first part. Okay. But then we had a return error is directory. Oh, what are we pointing at? What are we trying to open? We are trying to open the directory. And of course that doesn't exist. We wanted to have the test.text. Yes, rebuild and then try. Something happened. Something happened, but nothing happened. So what happened? Why didn't it write out this one? Because I again forgot to flush. Remember to flush. It read 8 bytes. Hooray! So maybe we can actually do this. It writes out the buffer, but buffer content, testing, and then garbage for the rest of the... So how can we terminate that one? Oh, we can do this. How was it? It was create a buffer from 0 to file data of that. It was something close to this one, where we define a new array based on this. Something like this. It compiles. Ready? Get set. No. Bytes read. File data. No, it's not the file data. Please rename that. Bytes read. Yeah. So we're doing file buffer. This is what it's reading into, but we only want the first 8 bytes. And again, I forgot the flush. The flush should be down here. So many small details. And it writes out 8 bytes, and it wrote out testing. So we actually did it. We got it working. Oh, I just want to see this page. Yes, I just want to see the, what is it called? The stream manager moderation view, so I can moderate if anything should ever happen in the chat. But yeah, this went a bit over an hour, but we got it working finally. And again, yes, there's all the details of which functions to use and the flags and so on, but the overall flow of things is starting to make sense. We are just ignoring all errors, which would be a good exercise for next time, maybe, just to ensure that we don't have a single try, that we handle every single error that is possibly thrown, and maybe we will just exit the code nicely, and yeah, we should be able to remove this one. That might be an idea for the next one. So if this fails to allocate, we will write out a message, or we will try to write out a message, because again, we use try there. But yeah, write out a message and exit the program. So we can access directories, get information about directories. We can access a file, and we can get information from the file. We can read it into a buffer. We can write it to screen again. Yeah, perfect. Well, that's going to be it for this time. And once again, this will be uploaded to YouTube. And you're always welcome to comment and help me learn. So whatever comment you have, whatever you want to throw at me, do it. Or if you just have fun seeing me being stupid and not seeing the small details and errors I do or make, then have fun. And thank you for watching. Bye.